Welcome to the College Delight for Life. It's about life, where we share our experience, strength, and hope to help others so they have a better understanding. Thank you. I'd like to introduce Reece, our podcast guest today. And if you would go ahead, Reece, and introduce yourself and maybe give a 1-minute spiel about, who you are and what you do and, what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Reece. I am 23 and I'm from England. You can probably hear that from the accent.
Mm-hmm.
So I got told, like most people, go to school, get good grades, get a good job. I definitely didn't get good grades at all. And then I fell into a job that I didn't like. And I realized that wasn't a route that I wanted to go. So I was always looking for other things, other alternatives. So I got into the sort of entrepreneurial space when I was like 18. Doing Forex trading. Then I set up a real estate business when I was 21. It's good and bad. I learned a lot from it, but it was interesting. Now I'm doing network marketing and Forex. And then I do a lot of speaking as well. That's one of the other things I want to do, just help back and give to other people.
Well, let's journey back to when you're 0 to 10 years old. And what I would love you to do is, talk about your childhood, things you did, what you did, what you overcame. And, I know I like people to get a familiarity with people are. That's what makes us a distinction between other podcasts and this, because people get to know the journey of your life. And so that we're going to start your journey from 0 to 10 years old. Go for it.
Yes. So 0 to 10, I remember being quite curious sort of child. Like we would go shopping. I would just touch everything. I'd be a bit of a nuisance and my parents are like, what are you doing? So I was always doing things like that. And then playing video games, I think when I was younger, I can't remember what I was doing when I was like 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. But yeah, I remember playing games, doing different things like that. I quite like being outside, football, going on my bike, different things like that. That is something I do remember as a kid. And then, video games as I got older, as I got closer to sort of 10, that was it. The Xbox come into play and it all went downhill.
With your friends and your family, what were some of the challenges and things you had to overcome with them?
Yeah, so family, one of the biggest things is slightly later, but I probably noticed it when I was around the ages of sort of 9 and 10. My parents divorced when I was 13. So I probably started to see that when I was around sort of 9, 10 years old, but started to become a bit more aware of things. So that was probably the biggest thing. It was slightly later, as I mentioned, into my sort of teenage years, that I started to notice things and things were changing. But previously friends were good. I was seeing family. I remember I used to go to one, like at the time it was like my best friend, always used to go there every Thursday. I'd go around his house, we'd play football, we'd do something like that, and then we'd go karate in the evening. So I was probably about 8 years old when we was doing that, to be fair. So that was quite interesting. Spent a lot of time around there, to be fair. That was every week, seeing him. And then he moved away when I was probably about 11.
I know you talked about your divorce, but what were some of the challenges you had to deal with your parents divorcing, if you don't mind sharing that?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned, it was more into my teenage years when I was sort of 12, 13, that is when it happened. So for my 13th birthday, it was before that. That was when my parents decided they were going to split and everything like that. And that was quite interesting. I remember going to my birthday. It was just my dad, my friend, and my mom. My dad, my friend, and me. My mum wasn't there for like a birthday meal, so that was quite interesting. That was like the first time I was kind of like, okay, and that made me think. And I lived with my mum at the time. I lived with my mum, my sister, so I kind of grew up fast because I was the only male figure that was there as such. So that did mature quite a lot. It made me learn from it. It just made me learn like different things about relationships and people, and understanding it. But I think it made me stronger. as such. It did make me stronger.
You were talking about during your teenage years. Did you have any difficulties or challenges that happened during your teenage years that you remember?
Yeah, so this kind of goes back to previous. I got bullied when I was a kid, when I was a lot younger, and I moved schools. And then when I was in secondary school, I was like really skinny. So people did kind of pick on me for being underweight as such. So I remember that a little bit. That was some of the things also around money growing up, the lack of money as we were growing up was quite prominent. So that was one of the biggest things I'd probably say through, my teenage years. And then understanding, because I was the only male figure there majority of the time, when other male figures did come into play, like I did see my dad and everything like that, but it wasn't all the time. I had to mature as such. I had to be on their level instead of my level when I was sort of like 14, 15, 16 years old. Yeah, they're probably the challenges that I had to grow through and everything like that. Just sort of making sense of everything, being there for my mum, my sister, my dad when I saw him, and then my stepmom.
What did you feel like this is an internal struggle in that? What do you think you had to make sense of it as far as in your internal world?
Because you get used to, obviously, your parents are there, like every you come home, they're there, or whatever, you go to school, they're there. And then they're not, you're in a different house, you moved house. So we moved out of where I was living as well at the time. We moved into a different house. So that was probably the biggest thing, was change and adapting to it and understanding that still going to see them, but it was in two separate lives. That made sense.
Okay. We've talked about your teenage years. Well, from 16 to say 21, what were some of the things going on in your life there with maybe family or friends or, people that you were with? And, I think the audience would love to see how that goes.
Yeah, so probably 16 to 21 is probably when I started to party, like go out, drink. Because in the UK, we can drink a lot earlier. It is 18. So most people end up drinking at sort of 16 years old. You go to house parties, you go to different things like that. So that was probably one of the biggest things. I was doing that quite a lot. I was not doing many things that were productive, to be fair. I was still exercising. I was quite big into my sport, and that did come into play. But yeah, there was a lot of parties, there was a lot of socializing, girls got involved, things like that. So that's when my life I started going on that sort of party journey when I was younger. 18, I left school, I got a job. So that was when I started working in London, started doing things like that, socializing, carried on, doing a lot of drinking, a lot of going out still. And that was when I realized that a job wasn't for me. So this is when I started to notice that things were slightly different in my life, that I wasn't going the normal path as everyone else. I was looking for other things and I was thinking differently. That was when I started to realize it, when I was like 18 years old. I was quite aware that my level of thinking was a lot higher than the people I was around. And I was seeking a lot more. I was like, okay, like I don't want to just settle for average. I don't want to settle for mediocre. I'm looking for a lot more. And that's when, the personal development probably started, was when I was 18. I was still partying, I was still drinking, but that was when it started, was 18. And then, so 21 was when I set up my real estate business. So I set that up, decided that I had to find other ways to make streams of income, and so I did that, and it taught me a lot. It also nearly bankrupted me, so it's quite an interesting journey that itself.
Sometimes out of our struggles and our failures is some of our greatest learning lessons, if you haven't learned that. And those mistakes if you start a new business, you can always apply to. At least I found in my business and what I do, I actually have 4 separate business empowerment Business Solutions Empowerment Coaching Association. And we also have an in-house empowerment publishing and Declares to Light for Life, all in-house. So we use those to help folks, and just thought I'd make you aware of them. But, looking at your own journey as far as that's concerned, from the age of 21, said you were nearly bankrupted in that real estate deal. What transpired after that, if you don't mind showing?
Yeah, so the actual property itself, or like the real estate business, so it grew very fast. So when I started, it grew very fast, and I had a business partner. We was making money. It was good. And then I started to realize there was a lot of separations between my vision and my ex-business partner's vision. There was a lot of differences that started to occur. We looked at things differently. We dealt with things differently. We wasn't always marrying up when it come to projects. And that's where the cracks started to emerge. And I was like, okay, let's see what happens. So this is June 2000, about June 2019. Started doing that. It grew for 6 months, was doing quite well and everything like that. And then got into last year when COVID came along. And that started to railroad things, to be fair. That started to cause a lot of issues with our tenants and the people like that. They wasn't able to pay rent. We wasn't able to make bills. We wasn't able to take out money from it. We was getting hit hard. Then it carried on for probably 6 months. We were just trying to put out fires every single day. It wasn't good at all. It was either legal battles, different things like that. It was just constantly something going on. And then I decided last September to personally come away from it. I was like, we're going in two separate directions. My ex-business partner and I wanted something completely different. The work wasn't marrying up. We wasn't really working as a unit. We was working separately, and it wasn't working too well. So I come away from it then, and then the business fell into administration earlier this year, back in May, June time. That's when it nearly bankrupted me and railroaded everything, basically. So yeah, I learned a lot from it, but we're back on track. We're working towards the goals again. So as you said, you learn a lot from the pain, the dips, and when things go wrong. So yeah, definitely learned a lot from it.
I can understand your pain. This past year, to keep my business going, I had to go through a back surgery, 4 car accidents, neck, back, and lung and heart infection.
Oh, wow.
And also, dealing with all the challenges of growing a business that was growing rapidly and trying to keep it going and functioning during challenging times health-wise. And I really had to learn, what was most important and prioritizing, and realizing if I didn't get everything done in a day, it was okay. And that, this is one thing as entrepreneurs, we have to treat ourselves with love, kindness, and compassion, because, failures are not failures unless you don't learn something from them. And that's at least what I found, because I coach businesses as far as that is concerned, and they may be in trouble or need help or whatever. But the thing is it's whether or not you're willing to try again and get over the hurdle, jump over the hurdle and say, hey, I can get going again. And, when, and this also leads into, what got you going again, as far as, after that defeat with real estate?
Yeah. I had this mentality of, no matter what in life, it doesn't matter what method I take, the mission still remains the same. So get to the end goal, basically, it still remains the same. It doesn't matter about the detour. And I've got this mindset of, I'm either going to succeed or I'm going to die trying. There is not much in between, really. What kind of motivates me, I think, is when I was younger, I was like very poor with, or not poor with money. I just didn't have a lot of money. It just seemed to disappear. And this is from growing up, from the what I was listening to, what I was consuming, the people who was around me. I was just repeating their same actions. Um, and I knew how uncomfortable it felt to be in that situation a couple of years ago. So I was like, I'm still living, I'm still breathing. Like it's fine. Like I can keep going. Basically, like there's worse things that are happening in the world. I'm just just dealing with my own thing. It seems absolutely like the end of the world, but it's not the end of the world when you're looking like the greater perspective. But a lot of things I do. I listen to a lot of entrepreneurs, like their stories, just their speeches, and everyone like has that failure beforehand, or they have that mess up, or things go wrong in
Yeah.
their life, and then it picks back up. So that always gave me hope as well, that I was like, well, if they've been through it, I can grow through it, and I'll come out the other side and it'll be fine.
Looking at what you're doing now, what are you doing now as far as forming a business? Or, you said you were on your entrepreneurial journey. Whereabouts are you on that? Have you started another business, or are you doing something different?
Yeah,
Why don't we dive into that?
yeah. So since November 2019, I was doing network marketing. That was something that I was doing, started back then. I also started speaking during, so when I did my property business, my mentor at the time said do Facebook Lives, and I was quite comfortable with talking. So I was like, okay, like fine. Um, so I wanted to do a lot more speaking. So that's what I'm focusing a lot more on at the moment, is the network marketing, speaking side of things. That I want to go back and talk to like schools, like young, or not young kids, but sort of teenagers that are like 16, 17 years old or 18, and say, okay, you don't have to go the traditional route. Because like when I was at school, they was like, oh, go and do this specific route. And I didn't want to do it, and they just ignored me. And then they were telling me off for not being in the lesson. But I was like, you're wasting my time. I'm wasting your time. I was like, what's the point of me being here? So I want to go back. That's something I'm working on at the moment, is going back into schools, talking about them. And then I'm also just building sort of multiple streams of income. So through Forex and then other sort of investments that I'm doing.
Why don't you explain Forex to our audience?
Yeah, so Forex is the foreign exchange market, and we've actually all participated in Forex. Like if you've ever traveled on holiday and you've gone, for example, I'm in the UK, you're in America. If I come over to America, I need dollars. So I need to convert my pounds into dollars. And when you go to like the places, they give you the differences between the currencies. That is basically what you're trading. When money goes up or money goes down, you can make money off of the currencies. So it's like the stock market, but for currencies.
Okay. Are you into any of the new technologies out there, crypto, NFTs, the blockchain and all are you familiar with what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah. So crypto was what kept me alive, to be fair. Like cryptocurrencies actually kept me alive. Some people love them, some people hate them. But when everything went wrong with my business, the only way I didn't go bankrupt was because I know you're not meant to touch your sort of portfolio and things like that. But I had quite a solid portfolio in crypto, and I took quite a lot of money to pay off the debt that I had accumulated from my property business. I think crypto is going to be the future for a lot of things, just because it's decentralized and not one country can control it. Like a lot of wars, a lot of things like that are started because of economic factors, and that is the main reason that they go to war. They go to these different places, but because it's not controlled by anyone, I think that's very good, because then it limits conflict through different countries, because no one power has ultimate control over it. I think that's one of the biggest things of why it's going to be adopted into the future a lot more. I still think we're in a very early stage of it, but I still think we're quite early when it comes to it. It's not adopted by everyone. Not everyone's actually seeing it as tangible or something that they can use in the future. But I think when major sort of institutions catch on, that's it. It's just going to fly.
I can already tell you some major institutions are actually getting into it, and they're actually issuing crypto credit cards.
That's cool.
But
I've
yeah,
seen a couple of
yeah,
I've seen a couple of them, to be fair.
yeah. I'm really up on this subject. It's close. I'm actually taking a blockchain training course now, so we can do our own NFTs and run our own blockchain
Yeah.
as far as that, and also build out our own cryptocurrency in what we're doing. So you might say
Cool.
yeah, I have a belief. I like to train my people internally and give them the skills they need. And it sounds like you're learning a lot of new skills by learning. And, are you doing a business now, or do you want to share that with the audience, or as far as that's concerned?
Yeah, so the main one is just the network marketing side of things, the business, that side of things. So word of mouth marketing, referral marketing, similar to affiliate marketing is the best way to explain it. You've got your own link that you can go through. That was the main sort of business I was focusing on. But then my mind, because I've been doing trading since I was about 18, I'm a lot more accustomed to looking at the charts, understanding things, and even in like a short period of time, I grew my crypto portfolio quite big. I think that's where a lot of my attention is going to be spent, is in the Forex market, then driving the Forex into the crypto market so I can just grow both. And then the network marketing will grow steady sort of alongside it.
This is coming down to the end. If there were 3 takeaways you could give our audience, what would they be? 3 positive takeaways that they can learn from.
Never give in, no matter what. If someone gives you an opinion and they're not living the lifestyle that you have, don't listen to it. And then work on yourself. Work so hard on yourself, personal development, everything like that. Because if you focus on yourself, if you grow yourself, every other area in your life grows. So they're my 3, I'd say.
Got one more.
One more. Study every day.
Learn new things. I'm 56, to tell you the truth, and I've had to learn everything from the ground up. So I was actually out of computers 18 years and came back 3 years ago and had to start a business, and I grew it quite rapidly. So like you said, alternative education, that was it. I got formal education and a lot of it, but it didn't prepare me for what you do now. And it sounds like you're preparing yourself for the new stuff, and that's extremely important. Thank you for coming to Claire's Delight for Life. It's about life. I hope you enjoyed our podcast as much as I did, and I hope you have a great day. I'd love to let you know about a new book coming out, and it's a great help for those who, and including you, to deal with life. It's called Overcoming Depression, Anxiety, PTSD, and Stress. Who couldn't use a book like this? And it's a great program. And the book and audio are going to be made available on Audible and Amazon. We also have we are on all the social platforms, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Pinterest, and TikTok, and just about anything else you can think of. With all that being said, we also have some other wonderful books that you can get on Amazon and Audible and on our website too, which is declaresdelightforlife.com. Again, that's declaresdelightforlife.com. And those books are Clutter to Declutter. And another one is 28 Days to Declutter Your Mind. The other one is Secrets to Declutter Your Mind Now. These were written with lots of love and experience, these books, to really help you on your journey in life, because I know, having gone through so much in my life, these are written from the heart to see that you too can succeed despite your situations. And I just want you guys to know that we do have a 180-day guarantee that if you don't, any of these don't work for you, you can just email us or at support@declaresdelightforlife.com, and we will refund your money with no questions asked, because we believe that a no questions asked guarantee is the best way to have a great relationship with you. And with that said, you know what? I hope you enjoyed this episode of Declares Delight for Life. It's about life, sharing your experience, strength, and hope.